That's excellent.
Yeah.
This meeting is being
Okay,
recorded.
we are live.
All righty. So consistent with chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, this meeting will be conducted by remote participation. The public may not physically attend this meeting, but every effort will be made to allow the public to view and listen to the meeting in real time and participate when necessary. If you are calling on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you're watching on a computer or device, there's a raise hand button that you can tap or press to request to speak. Please use either of these options to be recognized to speak. So tonight, with attendees, I'd like to say that we have Councillor Frank Majota, we have Councillor Jamie O'Hara, we have Councillor President Val Gilman, we have Councillor Tony Gross, we have our clerk Joanne Sinos, and we have our CAO Jill Cahill. So without further ado, I think we should move on to our first order of business, and it's going to be for our new appointments. And we'll start with the boards, and committees, and commissions for a new appointment for the Affordable Housing Trust, Chris McCarthy. Chris, how are you doing tonight?
We just pull them in.
Can you hear me?
We can, Chris. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Sean?
I can't complain. If you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, that would be excellent.
Sure. Name's Chris McCarthy. I live 166 Bray Street in West Gloucester, and been building and developing in Gloucester. I think my first project was in 1987, and just been building on a lot of infill lots for the last 30 plus years. Been on a few building committees, the senior center, doing some of the expansions for the elementary schools probably 20 years ago, I think, when they were doing some of the modular additions. And just continue to build, got the next generation working with me, and just trying to get on a board that I could probably help move forward to meet some of their missions. And I was asked to get on the Affordable Housing Trust. So I'm here tonight.
Excellent. Thank you, Chris. Do we have any questions from our committee? And I'll start with Councilor O'Hara.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much for stepping forward to help out. You've done a lot of work in the city and clearly no construction. So we appreciate your participation. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you, Councilor O'Hara. Councilor Majota.
Yes, I just want to thank Chris for stepping up. I appreciate your efforts in doing what's this for the city, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you very much, Frank.
Excellent. So I'd like to say that I've known Chris for a long time. It's always been through the building trades and his work. When one of the first projects that came up in front of us at O&A and in the city and planning was a job that he had done in West Gloucester. And it was a complicated job. And there was a lot of upset neighbors. His experience with working with people and being a troubleshooter made the project go forward. And it ended up being I believe, Chris, 2 residences in that duplex.
Which I'm not sure. I've done. I've had to work in all along Essex Ave, probably about 6 or 7 projects there.
This is the one that you got from Tom Calidora stuff. Was it Pew Ave?
Oh, the one up on Pine Road. Yeah, I was able to go up there and try to do some testing and be able to again, work with the neighbors, and alleviate their anxieties as to what I was going to do up there, and just try to follow all the right steps to be able to get the right permits to build the two houses up there, and which were sold before I even broke the ground.
Yep.
So, yeah.
It was a great project. So I too support you. Jamie, are you at a situation where you can read a motion, or would you like me to ask Frank?
No, I can read it.
All right, Councilor O'Hara, do we have a motion?
Ordinance Administration Committee recommends to the City Council to appoint Christopher McCarthy to the Affordable Housing Trust term ending February 14, 2024, and I so move.
Second.
All right, and this will be by roll call, and we'll start with Councilor O'Hara.
Yes.
And we have Council Majota,
Yes.
Council Nolan. Yes. Chris, have you been up to date on your test, and have you been sworn in?
The test, I believe so. I've completed it Thursday night, and I've been sworn in for, I think, is it a temporary 90-day or whatever it was? Yeah, I think so. I think I've been sworn in.
Yes, he has. He's all set.
Right. So with that being said, you're a new appointee. So I'd like to see you at the next city council meeting on Tuesday. And we look forward to your service, and thank you very much.
And thank you very much, councilors.
Joanne,
Thank
your
you.
hand up.
Okay, Councilor Nolan, I believe we had a request to take things out of order to have Adrian Sweet go first, and I apologize. I totally forgot about that. And also we have a quorum of the council because Councilor Grow has joined us.
Excellent, thank you. So we'll move on to Adrian. I did see that
Thank
on my last agenda, and I didn't write down the new one. So Adrian, how are you doing tonight?
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful. How are you doing tonight? I'm sorry I missed you. I was going to put you first. If you
That's
just want
right.
to
My
tell us.
name might not say Adrian. I'm so sorry. I'm on my boss's computer. I'm literally at like a meeting and I just stepped out to take this call. I really appreciate you seeing me first.
Not a problem. So let's make this quick.
Sure.
Adrian, you really don't have to tell us a lot about yourself. We know about you.
Oh, okay.
But just a quick definition of why you want to be on the Stage 4 Park Advisory Commission. We'll make it as quick as possible.
Sure. So I've grown up in the neighborhood of Stagefoot Park. I purchased a house there in 2017, literally right next door to the house I grew up in. It's just kind of a special place for me, and I just want to contribute to it and just make sure that it's getting taken care of and that everyone can enjoy it for what it's worth.
Excellent. Thank you. And we're going to try to move as fast as possible.
No, you're
may-
good. I have a few minutes. Thank you.
You may miss a few accolades. Is there any questions from the committee for Adrian?
Thank you, Adrian. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Council Majota?
Thank you, Adrian. And it's exciting to have people who live here step up and help the community. So it's great.
Agreed. Same to you, Frank.
Excellent. Adrian, anything with Gilardi Suite, that's awesome. So
Yep.
with that being said, do we have a motion?
Ordinance Administration Committee recommends to the City Council to appoint Adrian Gelati Sweet to the Stage 4 Park Advisory Committee, term ending February 14, 2025, and I so move.
Second.
All right, this will be a roll call vote, and we'll start with Council O'Hara,
Yes.
Council Majota,
Yes.
Council Nolan, yes. Adrian, have you been sworn in? Have you taken the ethics test?
I took the ethics test. I have not been sworn in,
All right,
but I will go this week.
Excellent. You meet with Joanne, and we'll see you next Tuesday at the city council meeting, and thank you for your service.
Thank you so much.
Have a great night. Joanne, thank you for that, because I dropped the ball. So next up, we have for the Capital Improvement Advisory Board, Stephen Saka. Stephen, how you doing tonight?
Good evening. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. If you just give the committee a little brief description of why you want to be on the Capital Improvement Advisory Committee, that'd be wonderful.
Certainly, certainly. Just a little bit of background. I was my first trip over the bridge was when I was about 3 months old, and my family had summer residence in Long Beach and then Briar Neck. And my father was in the seafood business in Boston and in Gloucester. We moved here in 2004, lived in East Gloucester, and my work, which brought me frequently overseas, most of the time overseas for extended periods of time, really didn't permit me to ever get involved in the community, which I like to do. And and then I was working at the Sloan School at MIT, and that was just a 24/7 position and was really hard. But I always had in my mind that I wanted to contribute. So when I took an early retirement several years ago, I started getting involved locally. I've been on the board of Maritime Gloucester. I work with Ken Reel at the Chamber. I'm a non-board member on the governance committee. I'm on the Cape Ann Innovators Collaborative Committee. We're an organizing committee that organizes functions through the Chamber. And I work with Ken on a number of different small initiatives. So when I had a chance to now contribute, I approached Mayor Verga and expressed an interest to contribute. He suggested, given my background, which was in public health management consulting and particularly finance, that the Capital Improvement Committee might be a good spot. And that's how I've come here now.
Excellent. Stephen, thank you very much. Is there any councilor questions or comments from the committee?
Thank you, Stephen, for stepping forward. You have a very extensive resume, as you've already mentioned, and the Capital Improvement Advisory certainly will put your expertise to work in helping the city. We wish you the best of luck.
I'm looking forward to moving forward. Thank you.
Councilor Majota.
Councilor O'Hara said it perfectly. You have a lot of experience, and the Capital Advisory Board is lucky to have you.
Glad to be able to serve. Thank you.
Steve, you've been recognized and worked on a lot of different things in the city, and this is a pretty important committee.
Yes,
that we have here, the oversight of large funds, large amounts of capital improvements, and I think that you're going to be a great addition to this, and I thought it was a great pick.
Thank you.
So with that being said, do we have a motion?
Ordinance Administration recommends the City Council appoint Stephen Saka to the Capital Improvement Advisory Board, term ending February 14th, 2025, and I so move.
Second?
All right, and this will be by roll call vote, and we'll start with Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Majota,
Yes.
and Councilor Nolan, yes. So obviously the yeses have it.
Thank you.
Steve, have you been sworn in, and have you done your ethics test?
Yes, yes, on both. Thanks.
Excellent. So we look forward to seeing you again on Tuesday for the city council's full vote. And thank you.
Looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
All right. So now we're going to move on to Robert Myers for the Clean Energy Commission. Robert, how you doing tonight?
Very well, sir. How are you?
I can't complain. If you just want to give us a few minutes to let us know why you want to serve on this committee, that'd be wonderful.
Yes, I'm very interested in Gloucester. I'm very interested in clean energy. I was on the Clean Energy Commission before, and then my wife retired and we traveled for a while. And we've come back, and we've been fortunate to be asked to join again. I think in 24, 25, and in the 30s, there's going to be quite a bit of money coming into the coastal Massachusetts and a lot of improvement to things that are going to be going on. And I think it's a really good idea for Gloucester to get its share of that. We have some of the best mariners in the world, and those skills are going to be very, very valuable. At the same time, I think we have to be very careful, especially with the offshore wind, that we are taking care of what has been the lifeblood of Gloucester all these years, and that is the fishing community. And so we have to balance both of those and see that the advantage is to be gained from both, not just one side or the other.
Excellent. Thank you, Robert. Is there any questions or comments from the counselors on the committee?
Thank you, Robert, for stepping forward. Obviously, your experience, your prior experience, bringing it back to the city on the Clean Energy Commission will be of value, and we wish you the best of luck going forward.
Thank you.
Councilor Majota.
Yes, Robert, just thank you for stepping up. And I just listening to you seem very passionate in clean energy and realizing that it's very important for the future. So I do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Robert, I'm glad you realize the fine line between our work in industry and fishing and the environment. We've been on the forefront for a lot of good decisions to work with clean energy, and I hope that you continue those great decisions and recommendations to us as a city. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And with that being said, do we have a motion?
Ordinance Administration recommends the City Council to appoint Robert Myers to the Clean Energy Commission, term ending February 14, 2024, and I so move.
Second?
And this will be by roll call, and we'll start with Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Majota,
Yes.
Councilor Nolan, yes. Robert, have you been up to date with the ethics test, and have you been sworn in yet?
Up to date on the ethics test, but haven't been sworn in yet.
All right, if you can get reach out to Joanne and get sworn in before Tuesday night, before you'll meet with the full council, that'd be excellent.
I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you, and have a great night.
You too.
So next on the agenda will be for the Economic Development Industrial Corp for Patty Nags. Patty, I hope I said that right.
Yeah, it's just like an old horse, Sean. And I'm one person who tries really hard not to live up to their name. I have been a resident and employed in Gloucester for 25 years. I was a golf course superintendent, and I have been a self-supporting independent contractor as a realtor for the past 16 years. I hope to bring the reality piece to our economic growth, which is our local housing input into economic growth as a realtor.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Is there any questions or comments from the counselors on the committee?
Thank you, Patty, for stepping forward to offer your expertise in the Economic Development Industrial Corp. We appreciate it, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you much.
Councilor Majota.
Patty, thank you for stepping up. Really do appreciate it. And just wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Patty, it's actually quite different. Your work with golfing, with Bass Rocks, and different courses, and then real estate, to work with our EDIC, which is a thriving entity in the city. Your input on the private side for real estate, I think, is really going to benefit how businesses develop and work with the community to make our industrial base that much better. And I'm pretty excited about this, Patty.
Oh, thank you. I've been mentored by Ruth Pino, who used to fill this seat. And I think we've all had a rude awakening this recent past year as to how important housing is for moving forward in our community.
Excellent. So with that being said, do we have a motion?
Ordinance Administration recommends the City Council appoint Patty Nags to the Economic Development Industrial Corporation, term ending July 1st, 2025, and I so move.
Second?
All right, and this will be by roll call, and we'll start with Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Majota,
Yes.
Councilor Nolan, yes. The yeas have it. Patty, have you been through your ethics test and have you been sworn in yet?
Been through the ethics test and I have not been sworn in yet.
All right, if you could reach out to Joanne and take care of that, and we'll see you next Tuesday for your formal induction, and thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so next up we have Lynn McGuire. How you doing tonight, Lynn?
Great, thank you.
So you're up for the Gloucester Cultural Council. If you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on this committee.
Yes, I'm Lynn McGuire. I live on Rust Island. My family bought the home in 1968. So I've been coming to Gloucester anytime I could get a vacation since I moved to Las Vegas about 40 years ago. And I'm a retired physical therapist. I have my own business and I've served as the president and many other positions in the Nevada Physical Therapy Association. I'm an artist. I'm a watercolor painter. I moved about 3 years ago back to the family home, live with my mom, my 90-year-old mom and my daughter. And we have a little goat farm here, but I volunteer at the North Shore Art Association, the Rockport Art Association, and recently the Essex Shipbuilding. So I have lots of energy. I have lots of time now. I'm retired. And I met with Liz Newmeyer, the chair, and I met with the Gloucester Cultural Council, found out about the position, and it's right up my alley. I've been lucky to work in Nevada doing a Get Smart with Art program that actually benefited from a Nevada Arts grant. And I love the idea of being on this council. So anything else?
Nope, that's actually great. And thank you.
Okay.
Is there any questions or comments from councilors on the committee? And we'll start with Councilor O'Hara.
Yes, Lynn, thank you very much. You went from Las Vegas to a very colorful area of Gloucester, being Rust Island. Rust Island's been known to have some very colorful people, and it's a beautiful area with, as I mentioned, colorful meaning characters of the island, and I'm sure you'll fit in very well on the Cultural Commission. So thank you very much.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Councilor Majota.
Hello, Lynn. I love your energy. Seems like you're very excited for this, and yeah, I'm just excited to have you on board. So thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
And Lynn, there's such a big divide between Las Vegas and Gloucester. But I'm happy to have you back here because I believe that there's nothing better than Gloucester when it comes to art, scenes, and environment. And our culture is so vast and so old and perfect. And I think you're a great acquisition to this committee.
Oh, thank you.
So with that being said, do we have a motion?
Ordinance Administration Committee recommends the City Council appoint Lynn McGuire to the Gloucester Cultural Council, term ending February 14, 2025, and I so move.
Second?
All right, so this will be by vote. Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Majota,
Yes.
Councilor Nolan, yes. The yeses have it. Lynn, have you been through your ethics test and have you been sworn?
No, I'm going to do both tomorrow.
Excellent. If you could reach out to Joanne, and we'll see you on Tuesday night in front of the full council. And thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. All right, so next up we have for the Gloucester Cultural Council, Tom Stein. Tom, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. I love the picture.
Mhm.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm not, you can't see my, I don't know how to unmute my camera here. I'm on my phone. Sorry.
That's fine.
Okay.
Anything with your car is always pleasant. So if you just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you like to be on the Cultural Council, that'd be excellent.
Sure. Well, I'm a musician. I've been in the music industry for over 40 years, and I'm a professor at Berklee College of Music in Boston, full professor, full time. Coming from teaching today, I teach usually Mondays and Tuesdays. I'm a Fulbright scholar, and I've also done international concerts used for soft power diplomacy with our Department of Commerce, our Department of State, in about a dozen countries, including China and Turkey. And I teach on those subjects related to performance and music industry studies. I wrote a textbook that's on Division of Harvard Business Press that's used in 500 colleges and universities around the world. I've lived in Gloucester full-time since 2012, but I lived in Rockport since 2008. So I've been on Cape Ann for 14 years. And I want to be on the Cultural Council because I want to help to promote the arts in general and performing arts, fine arts in Cape Ann and Gloucester. And I have a background also in college admissions. So I was on the board of admissions at Berklee for many years. And I've also done a lot of scholarship fundraising and been on all the committees that awards those scholarships, something upwards of probably close to $50 million as of today. So I have a lot of experience with grant writing and reviewing grants in the arts and in music in particular. And I was looking for a way to participate in the arts in Gloucester. And this seemed like a really good idea. I spoke with Liz Newmeyer, the chair. We had a nice conversation about how things run. And I feel like I'm prepared to step up and make a contribution. And this seems like a really good way to do that. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tom, and we're certainly happy to have you. Do we have any questions or comments from the counselors on the committee? And I'll start with Councilor O'Hara.
Thank you, Tom. You just mentioned your experience, very extensive in the cultural aspect. And you'll be a tremendous addition to the committee, as well as helping the city, and we appreciate your efforts going forward. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Jamie.
And Councilor Majota.
Yes, I'm very, very impressive. Being a professor, have a book, musician. I don't know how you have any free time, but look forward to having you on the board, and it's just exciting. So thank you.
Thank you. I have a 4-year-old too, by the way. Yeah, and I have a second book coming out. It's on the concert industry that's coming out next year. So I look forward to contributing.
Nice. Tom, I think you're gonna be a great asset. The grant writing and working with grants, you may be bothered by a few other people on a few other committees for some help. Your enthusiasm, your knowledge, your musical background to go with the cultural is just fantastic. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Counselor. I appreciate it.
So do we have a motion?
Ordinance Administration recommends the City Council appoint Tom Stein to the Gloucester Cultural Council, term ending February 14th, 2025, and I so move.
Second.
All right, and this will be by roll call vote, and we'll start with Councilor O'Hara.
Yes.
Councilor Majota.
Yes.
And Councilor Nolan, yes. So that's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Tom, have you been up to date with the ethics test, and have you been sworn in?
I am up to date with the ethics test, and I will get sworn in as soon as I can this week.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And if you could reach out to Joanne, and we'll see you next Tuesday night.
Terrific. Thank you very much.
Excellent. So next up, we have a reappointment for the Board of Commissions of Trust Funds, and that's for Barry Weiner. I don't see Barry in attendance tonight.
He's not. He was sent the invitation, but I don't see him on the call.
Right. I have no problem, as I know Barry personally as an old baseball coach and a great member of the city of Gloucester, with putting his appointment forward without any objection. Councilor O'Hara?
No, no objection. I'd be honored to move him forward.
Same here. Councilor Majota?
Let's do it.
All right, so I could talk for hours about this one particular individual and how awesome he is. So with that being said, do we have a motion?
Ordinance Administration Committee recommends the City Council reappoint Barry Weiner to the Board of Commissioners of the Trust Fund, term ending February 14, 2025, and I so move.
Second?
And this will be with a roll call, and we'll start with Councilor O'Hara.
Yes.
Councilor Majota?
Yes.
Councilor Nolan? Absolutely. That's 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to appoint Barry, or to reappoint Barry. Thank you guys very much. So next on the agenda, we have a memorandum. Actually, we're going to go to number 2, Nolan Gilman request that the Ordinance Administration Stand-in Committee review Chapter 21, Street and Sidewalks in Public Places, Article 3, excavations, continued from 3/14/22. I believe we're still working on some information with the administration and the DPW director on this. I would have no problem moving this to a next meeting. Would Councilor President Gilman like to chime in?
Yeah, I would, at this point, I would really like to see our DPW director's suggestions so we can continue to look at this, particularly as we get more prepared for our task force on private road repair. I think that this is an important component. So maybe we could put a request for our DPW director to attend our next O&A meeting and make sure that we get his draft to put in the packet. Because I think it's awesome that we're looking at this together as a council, but Mike Hale's leadership on this is really important. So that would be my suggestion, to try to get some follow through on this. So.
Excellent. Thank
That's
you, President Gilman. Joanne, if you could move this forward to the next O&A meeting, and maybe Joe Cahill can help us out with having a sit down with Mike, or we can discuss this a little bit more on Thursday to bring forward for the next O&A meeting. Thank you.
It'll be May 16th, the meeting.
Perfect.
Great. Thank you,
Beth.
Counselor. Thank you, Jill.
So next up is item 3, memorandum from the Assistant DPW Director regarding changes to beach and Stage 4 park regulations. And I must also highlight that the fact that the changes in the regulations are noted in red. So when we go forward to the actual reading of the motion, we only have to worry about what's in red and not the entire subsection. So with that being said, is there someone from the administration that wants to speak on this? I see Joe Cahill is on the line, but I actually don't see anybody from the DPW.
No, Chairman, I told Mark that he didn't need to come tonight, that we could handle it. I'm happy to answer any questions too. I think, can you hear me? I'm in the car.
We can.
Okay. I think the things to highlight here that you see is that we are eliminating the non-resident beach sticker. When we reviewed the policies related to bringing the online reservation system online and taking a look at what the benefits and the downfalls were to the non-resident beach stickers, the administration decided that it was time to let go of those, now that everybody has equal opportunity to make a reservation in advance and not necessarily have to sit in line. So that is one of them. I think the biggest changes you will see is a pilot program related to the surfing guidelines. And I don't know, I believe you also got the kind of FAQ from the surfing union, surfers union. So they have, and I don't know if Courtney was attending this, but I know she will be available for questions if you need her. And then the third one, which I don't know if it got sent out to the whole committee today, but I was shared with the chairman and Joanne, is an update to count mopeds of, and the chairman can correct me on this, 50 cc's, which I don't exactly know what that means, to be counted as bikes. We reviewed this with the with DPW, and this is practice already at the beaches, so it's just putting it into the regulations. So those are the highlights. The other change in red you'll see in the appendix is just a reference back to the non-resident sticker. And I think those are the big ones, and we really appreciate your support on these. And if you have questions, I think the most important thing to point out about the surfing changes is they are temporary. It's for this year to see how it goes. And at any time, the lifeguards can call surfers out of the water. They have the ultimate responsibility for the safety at the beach. And we are working, we had a really great meeting. I want to thank Councilor Grow and Councilor Memhard. They led the way on this. And we had a great meeting with the Surfers Union and Joe Lucita from the beaches. We're working on some flags that also will help let surfers know what the conditions are. And I think this is probably what takes place in most beaches across the US where surfing is allowed. So I'm happy. I hope that we can make a difference here, and surfers can enjoy the great water at Good Harbor Beach, one of the top 25 in the US, thanks to Travel and Leisure. Even more reason for reservations. But I'm happy to answer questions. And if I start to lose you, I do have to head back to pick up, but I should be good. But I'm happy to answer questions.
Excellent. Thank you, Jill. Joanne, if you could please bring in Courtney Hayes. Excellent.
Hello.
Courtney, how are you doing tonight?
Good. Hi. Thanks so much. I don't know, or just hear me.
We can hear you. If you just want to give a little description of where we are and what you're looking to do, that would be excellent.
Yeah, well, I have a 3-minute presentation. Is that too much? I mean, it's just like an overview of the proposal and who we are. Is that helpful, or is that too much information?
Nope, that would be actually wonderful if you could do that.
Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and read it then. Is everyone ready and you can hear me okay?
We can.
Okay, perfect. So hello, my name is Courtney Hayes. I live at 1057 Washington Street in Gloucester, and I'm a member of the Cape Ann Surfers Union. The Cape Ann Surfers Union, aka CASU, is an all-volunteer grassroots organization devoted to expanded ocean access for surfers and the promotion of a healthy and safe ocean environment for all. Since its inception in 2019, Cape Ann Surfers Union has grown to over 600 members, and we are here tonight to propose a few small and safe changes that would modestly expand summer surfing hours at Good Harbor Beach. The current policy of prohibiting summer surf access from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. forces increasingly large numbers of surfers into a very narrow time window of potential surf. We believe that our pilot program will help reduce overcrowding and may even improve safety by allowing surf access at times when there are few or no swimmers in the water. Of course, we recognize there are days when Good Harbor Beach is extremely crowded from sunrise to sunset. And to be clear, we are not asking to surf at those times. Our pilot program requests the following 3 small, safe, and responsible changes during underutilized times when there are few or no swimmers in the water. So those are: number 1, we are asking to extend all-day surf access through Friday, June 17th versus the current Memorial Day cutoff. The water temps during June are still very cold, often dipping into the low 50s and even 40s. And there are many days with few or no swimmers in the water because of the cold water temperature. The last day of Gloucester Public Schools is June 14th, so beach attendance is generally light. If conditions change, lifeguards can always call surfers out of the water using a flag system. Number 2 in the request is extend surf access until 10 a.m. versus the current 9 a.m. on weekdays and non-holidays only before crowds arrive. Again, lifeguards can call surfers out of the water earlier if the beach becomes too crowded with swimmers. And lastly, we are requesting all-day surf access on bad weather days when there are few swimmers. Bad weather surf days would be at the lifeguard's discretion and managed using a flag system. I think some of the council members already know that this has been granted to surfers, but on a very inconsistent basis. So under our pilot program, lifeguards can call surfers out of the water using a flag system at any time for any reason. And the DPW is working with lifeguards to prepare this system for the summer. As part of our research on safe surf management, CASU interviewed a majority of the Good Harbor Beach lifeguards last summer, and all agreed these changes are safe, reasonable, and completely manageable. If the pilot program is adopted, CASU, in coordination with the DPW, lifeguards, and surf shop owners, will roll out a summer-long education campaign highlighting the need for all surfers to act responsibly and always respect lifeguards' authority. If surfers fail to act responsibly over the course of the summer, the pilot program will be discontinued. Over 600 CASU members, 150 plus Gloucester residents, Good Harbor Beach lifeguards, and the 2020 Gloucester City Council have all expressed resounding support for these small and sensible changes that do offer many health and wellness benefits to our beach-going community. And we hope you will join us. So many thanks for your time and consideration. Those are my comments.
Actually, Courtney, thank you very much. That was excellent. Is there any counselor questions from the committee? And I'll start with Counselor Harrop.
Thank you. I have reservations with this. We've debated this in past councils. Obviously, Good Harbor Beach is well attended by both our constituents and visitors. And I've seen the surfers. Not that many of them are very conscientious and courteous. They show up at prior to 5 o'clock when the beach is open to them. But I do have concerns because the boards can get away, and the keel of the boards is deadly and can be deadly. There's documentation that does note that. I'm willing to move this forward to full council for debate, but I do have reservations for the health and safety of the visitors, constituents who utilize the beach. And again, I'll leave the balance for full council for discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor O'Hara. Counselor Majota.
This is very interesting. Living on the West Coast, I experienced beaches where both surfers and swimmers were able to get along in a safe manner. So I'm interested to see how this pilot program works for extending the hour. But I'm excited for the surfers, and I feel like everything's sort of laid out where it's going to be fair. And again, if the beaches do get crowded, the lifeguard can pull the surfers out, and for the safety of the people who are swimming. So I'm just excited. That's it.
Excellent. Thank you, Frank. Courtney, I do believe that you guys have been through a lot of work. Counselor Grow and Counselor Memhard have been working very hard for this. The administration is put their time and thought and liabilities into the same thing, and the practice of the lifeguards. I do think this is something that's worthwhile. We do have a sunset clause on it. It'll be for 1 year as a trial period. And I think it can work. And if it doesn't work, then we'll find what's going on. It's nothing different. I enjoy watching the surfers when I drive by my Sunday morning coffee. My wife and I joke about, being out there in March and how cold the waters are and how dedicated people are, and they're enjoying themselves. I have full belief that the lifeguards will be listened to, and if they're not, then it'll be on the surfers. So I will support this, and I think that you guys have done a great effort. It's been 2 years that you've been very strong on this. I'd like to actually open this up for counselor questions from the audience, and I'd like to start with Counselor Grow.
Thank you. I just wanted to make 2 comments. One, I am riding on the coattails of Scott and Courtney in terms of involvement in this. I've obviously very much in support of it, but they have done all the work. I'm just simply, helping to shepherd it through at this point. I just wanted to address one concern that Councillor O'Hara had about interactions between swimmers and surfers, and that is that these changes are being made primarily at times when there are not a lot of people in the water. So the extended hour in the morning and the sort of codified allowance to surf on bad days and the extension into June are all times when there's not going to be a lot of conflict with surfers. And I appreciate that concern, because the thing is that no surfer wants to be responsible for hurting a swimmer or another surfer. I mean, we're on surfboards out there, and yeah, they can hurt if they hit you, but our goal is to keep that to a minimum and make sure that we don't injure anybody, because if I can borrow the phrase, it really harshes our mellow. It's nobody wants to get hurt. Nobody wants to hurt anybody. So I think surfers are very attuned to making sure that they are responsive to swimmers in the water, but these changes really affect the opportunity to use the beach at a time when swimmers are not really going to be a major concern. So I hope that allays some of the concerns you might have about it. I'm looking forward to the ONA pushing this forward so that we can see the pilot program work, and I'm hopeful it'll last after this year.
Excellent. Thank you, Councillor Grow. So under this motion, we do have the 50 cc under for the mopeds and powered vehicles to be treated as bicycles. We also have in the same motion the rate increase for Stage 4 Park, which I think is a long time coming. And then we also have the Surfers Union's trial period for 1 year. Joanne Stanis?
Oh, okay. No, the rate for Stage 4 Park was passed at the last council meeting. It was the previous one before. So the only thing here is taking out the non-resident stickers, the mopeds, and the surfing on this motion.
I'm sorry about that. A lot of strikeouts on this one.
I know.
The motion. But I do see a hand raised for Councillor Gross. Councillor Gross, you have a question?
I do. On the non-resident sticker, why isn't that whole thing struck out? I don't understand why we're leaving 2 of the sections in there, or even the section at all.
I can answer that if you can hear me, Mr.
Yep.
Chair. If I'm remembering right, the piece that's left in are the what you would call, I think it's 60-day plus residents. So these are seasonal residents. A lot of folks who, my understanding is a lot of people take advantage of this are the people who live here for more than 60 days at the Cape Ann campsite, or someone who rents for more than 60 days. So that is there, it's classified under that same section. So that's why they're not out of there. They're temporary residents. And so I think it shows right there too that they have to provide a copy of their lease agreement.
Oh. Tony, you were muted on that. Did that satisfy you?
So we do have non-resident stickers still.
Well, like I said, they are what we call, let me hold on, I'm gonna pull over a
I can
second.
see, I know what you're talking about.
Temporary residents, yeah, temporary residents.
Okay, All right, thanks.
Excellent. Any other questions? All right, none being heard. Jamie, obviously, the only thing that we need to read on the motion would be the motion itself, and then the articles that are in red that aren't lined out.
Yes. Ordinance Administration Committee recommends the City Council amend beach and Stage 4 park regulations as submitted by the Assistant DPW directed to the Ordinance Administration Committee as of May 2nd, 2022, and to carry a new effective date of May 12th, 2022 as follows. Delete domicile residents of Essex, Rockport, and verified with the vehicle registration and copy of their driver's license. Include copy of lease agreement if car is leased. All other non-residents, 200 stickers available per season, verified with copy of vehicle registration, include copy of lease agreement if vehicle is leased, that will be struck. 14 mopeds and scooters that are under 50 cc do not require a beach sticker for admittance to the lots. They are to be treated as bicycles and not charge entrance fees. Except this is 3H2 edition, except for a 1-year 2022 season pilot surfing program at Good Harbor Beach only that shall extend surfing season, allow all-day surfing through Friday, June 17th, extend surfing hours, allowing surfing until 10 a.m. from Monday, June 20th through Labor Day, weekdays, non-holidays only, and surfing on bad weather days. Allow surfing on bad weather days with few or no swimmers in the water at lifeguards' discretion. Lifeguards can call surfers out of the water at any time or any reason. Moving down, we're striking in Appendix A, non-resident Essex, $300, non-resident Essex and Rockport, $300, non-resident 200, non-resident 200 available, 200, non-resident 200 available stickers for $300. That is struck, and I so move.
Second.
All righty, this will be by roll call vote, and we'll start with Councilor O'Hara.
Yes.
Councilor Majota.
Yes.
Councilor Nolan, yes. So the yeses have it. 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Courtney, thank you for your time. We look forward to seeing you at the next communications with this full city council.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, so next on the agenda, we actually have the City Council Civility Resolution, which would refer back to O&A and the Human Rights Commission, continued from 3/14/2022. We did hear from Councilor Grow at the last City Council meeting that they're working on language on this. Councilor Grow, are you still available?
I am.
At what time frame do you think you want us to bring this back? Do you want to?
What I'd like to, it needs to, the full language needs to be vetted by the Human Rights Commission. That will be at the end of May will be the next meeting. And then it'll be referred back to O&A. So,
right, so you want to go sometime in like middle of June?
Yeah, beginning, yeah, sometime like that. Exactly. There's not going to be a whole lot of big changes, just some additional language in there. Excuse me. And hopefully I'll have that. I'm a little behind in my homework, if I might be so bold to tell the truth. So it should be completed by the end of May, and then to you shortly thereafter.
Excellent. Joanne, is this something we can put forward for a date sometime in the middle of June? You're muted. I'm sorry, Joe, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I muted myself. So it would be either June 20th or June 6th.
Jason, where do you feel best from that?
I say June 6th. That'll give me some motivation to get it done.
Excellent. So Joan, if we could do that for June 6th, that'd be excellent.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so next we have up number 5 is CC 2020-004. Gilman, Nolan, Memhard order that the city council audit the amend GZO to be consistent with the new resident parking regulations adopted by the city council on May 25th, 2021, continued from 4/4/22. There's no motion offered on this. We still are waiting for some feedback from the administration on where we stand with this. Councilor Gilman, would you like to give a few moments on this topic?
Thank you, Counselor. No, I think that we're looking forward to getting some of the recommendations from city administration, so I have nothing to add. You stated everything beautifully. Thank you.
Excellent. Jill Cahill, is there a time frame that you think would be best to pull us back? Do you want to do 2 weeks? Do you want to do 1 month?
So we've done a thorough review at the staff level of the parking ordinances, and this is a portion of that. The plan is traffic commission, and then from them back to you. So I'd like to get it to them in this cycle. For traffic commission enough time to review it.
All righty. So we lost you. It's like you're driving through Bayview. But I know you. So do you want to go 4 weeks out with this or 2?
4 weeks.
4 weeks. Council President Gilman.
Yeah, through the chair to our CAO, I do have one question in that any changes of ordinances are going to take 31 days from the day that we approve them. And I'm just anticipating that the summer's coming. And if there are some critical spots that we have to modify, the timing is kind of critical at this point. So I just want to just throw that out there for us to be mindful of.
Yes, yeah, we're aware. And the things that you have in place right now that you've done are obviously still in place. That's happened over the last, I think it really became important during COVID from what I observed as community development. Those will all still be in place. And these streets in particular, what we found is there are very few places that most of the inconsistencies are if it just says no tollway zone and then also resident only parking. So I don't think there's anything that needs to be addressed immediately, but I'm happy to forward some of that. If you have some specific concerns, you can let us know. But anything that was in place previously is still in place. And what we're doing is, as your ordinance or as your council order suggests, is just cleaning them up for consistency. But if there's something in particular you're concerned about, I'm happy to talk about that and try to move that more quickly.
Okay. Terrific. You answered my question. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you, Councilor Gilman. Thank you, Jill Cahill. Joanne, so if we could put this out to 4 weeks from now, that'd be awesome.
That would be the June 6th meeting.
All right.
The next meeting would be May 16th. And then there's an off week. And so the next O&A meeting would be June 6th.
Excellent. Thank you, Joanne. So next we have is number 6, CC number 2022-014, Gilman, amend the city council rules of procedure by adding rule 19, request to seek information from city staff. Councilor President Gilman, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Councilor Nolan. I appreciate it. So if we could, per the chair, if it's okay that I ask Madam Clerk to put a screen share of number 67 and page 68 of tonight's packet. It's way at the end. 67 and 68 are the two that I want to first quickly review, and then we can go right to the wording of the proposed order. So one of the things that we've been talking about on the city council is what's the difference between council orders where we're amending or adding new codes to our code of ordinances or our zoning, and versus when we make basic requests to the mayor for actions that we need. And there are two separate types of actions that I would like to add to our rules of procedure. One are actions that are quite simple, and it's basically a request to a department head that is under a minute long. It's just a short amount of time. And the other are requests that a counselor might make that takes some extra time. So I just wanted to just kind of review some of the examples. So the request to the mayor can be submitted verbally at the end of city council meetings, weekly if submitted to the city clerk's office at the close of business on Thursday, or in the case of an urgent request, a counselor may submit an email request directly to the mayor, provided the city clerk, council president, and the CAO are all copied. Some of the examples, and these are the things that take more time, where we're asking for counselors to formally make their request through one of those manners that I just described. Examples might be requests of the CFO to provide a report on the energy saving of wind turbines, or to provide a unique report that has not been provided in the past and requires time and materials, or to request to meet with the IT manager to go over some technical training matters on Chromebooks, or request to meet with Public Works Director to ask various questions on private road repair and the history of pothole repairs and betterments, or request to meet with a department manager to seek information on enforcement of a particular matter, or to seek assistance in an ordinance or zoning matter that is being considered, or request for use of electronic signs for a particular event, or request for staff attendance at a city council meeting or subcommittee meeting requires 5-day notice. So all of those types of issues, they're just examples. There are so many, but those are ones that I just thought were pretty typical of the types of requests that we may have. And then to add to that, a cumulative quarterly report of all weekly requests to the mayor is maintained by the clerk of committees and is submitted regularly to the office of the mayor and the city councilors. And when we work on that report, if it's a second request or a third request or fourth request, we mention those things. And then we ask the mayor's office to weigh in on its status. And the final column on that request log has an area where the department heads can tell the mayor's office what the disposition is. And then, so alternatively to what I just said, there are very quick answers that we can get from city department heads. And typically, I thought this was kind of helpful, but our CAO mentioned that this is a type of question that can be answered in a minute or less without research, or simply a yes or no with a short explanation. Typically, it's more prevalent for ward councilors who might be seeking a follow-up response from a constituent. Councilors are reminded to review our GCO and GZO or budget matter prior to calling a department head, just so we know what we're talking about and we've done our research. Quick questions can be submitted or asked via city email, which should copy the Director of Communications and Constituent Services. Right now, that is Pam Toby, or by office phone. And text should be the last resort only in an urgent situation, and to city-issued phone numbers. We don't want to be making texting the way to communicate, because we believe that city email is the best way, or by office phone. But if it's an emergency, that is the last resort. Inquiries should be made during the work week unless it's an urgent matter. And then the examples are, for example, seeking a quick answer for a constituent inquiry from the building inspector. For example, if compost piles or border fences can be on one's property line. That happens to be a recent question that came up with one of my constituents, and I got a message back from Bill Sanborn in 30 seconds, and I copied Pam Toby when I sent that. Ward counselor checking with a department head or chief, or assistant department head, assistant chief, to find out if overtime positions have been filled for police coverage, ticket clerk coverage on summer weekends or holidays. That's an example of something that I've done frequently on a Friday after they do the rolls at the signups at the Gloucester Police Department, to find out what type of coverage we have up at the quarries and throughout Ward 4 in the summer. Follow up with the DPW director to see when the paving will start for a scheduled betterment project in order to update abutters, or to seek revised schedules due to inclement weather. Joanne, if you could just scroll up, I think that's the end of this. Nope, I'm sorry. Or report a tree blocking a private or public road that is a possible safety hazard. Note, emergency should always be called into the Gloucester Police Department. So please remember that the city clerk and the city auditor are the only two positions that report to the city council. City clerk staff members report to the city clerk, not to our city council. And I submitted this as a backup to the council order. So with the permission from the chair, I don't know if you want to discuss this, or if you want me to just review what the order states for the rules of procedure, and then you can opt to make a motion and discuss it, whatever is more convenient for you, Counselor.
I think we get the gist of it. The one thing I would like to add, like I added it before in this discussion, the city solicitor is open to the council at any time. So if you have a question that is of the legal situation, feel free to call and discuss that. These rules are more put into play to keep things more on public record. It's not that we were asked or were being told not to do something. The only thing that was recommended to us in the beginning by CAO Jill Cahill was that if there was something that was large or that was in front of us, something to make sure that we CC'd the mayor's office so they know what's going on, so they keep a record of this. So this isn't a deterrent from us contacting people. It's more to keep things on a ground where it can be recorded and have a history of what is actually happening to benefit our constituents on our complaints.
Thank you. So can I go through my council order, or do you want to do the motion? What would you prefer, Counselor? I can run through it. It's just a summary of what I just said, and I can be pretty quick. Are you comfortable with that?
I'm pretty sure that you're going to do that anyways.
Be quick. Thank you. Tonight we have a steak dinner being cooked on the grill, and it smells really good.
Paul makes a good steak.
He does. He uses that good spicy seasoning. All right, so I'm going to just ask through the chair if our clerk of our Madam Clerk can show us the two parts, slides number 65 and number 66 in tonight's packet. That would be great. Just scroll it up, Joanne, if that would. Great, thank you. Okay, so order ordered requests that the City Council Rules of Procedure that we last updated recently on March 8th, 2022 be amended by inserting Rule number 19, request to seek information from city staff. There are two ways to seek information from city staff. Number one, request to the mayor. I don't need to read through it. I already described that. And number two, quick questions to city department head, which is summarized by saying that any inquiry that can be answered in a minute or less without research or simply yes or no answers with a short explanation. This is more prevalent for ward councilors who have a follow-up city department question from a constituent. It's the councilor's responsibility to read up on GZO, a budget matter in question prior to reaching out to department head. Quick questions can be submitted or asked. I've already reviewed those, so we don't have to review those again. And then finally, councilors are reminded that the city clerk and city auditor are the only two positions that report to the city council. If you want to add to that, something to what Councilor Nolan just said, which should also include seeking advice from the general counsel. Councilor Nolan, does that cover what you just said that you'd like to add to that?
I definitely would like to add that to the amendment.
Okay. Okay. So, maybe with your permission, we can craft that, but I think you understand the language for that. So, and that's it. So further order that this matter be referred to O&A, we're here, and then it'll be recommended for the city council. So if we approve this recommendation tonight, city council will be able to weigh in on this, and then we can make it effective immediately. So that's it. That's my presentation. And I look at our rules of procedure as being really important for governance. I also just wanted to add that I've had conversations with, along with Councilor Nolan, with both our CAO and our mayor on the follow-up protocol for these. And they are working on a protocol. I don't know if Jill would like to weigh in, but we want to make sure when we have these running lists of requests that there's closure and accountability, and that city administration reviews them and then closes them out, and that there's a process where we can discuss them maybe at O&A if for some reason there's a disagreement between a request that the councilors have made and city administration wants to chat. Maybe a quarterly meeting where those types of issues might be discussed at O&A. I don't know through the chair if Joe Cahill has suggestions, or if this is something that's kind of a work in progress. But it's a little bit different to what this order is, but it is part of the follow-up. I know Councilor Majota actually asked this at the last city council meeting in the request to the mayor, and it's a really good question that we've been talking about for years. So through the chair, can our CAO respond?
Excellent. So if we could ask questions from the committee and see if they have any questions for the CAO at this point, that'd be perfect. So I'd like to start with Councilor O'Hara. Councilor O'Hara, do you have any questions on this change of our rules of procedure?
Yeah, I believe there should be an addition that there should not be a problem with a counselor contacting the senior officer of either the police department or fire department on weekends or off hours, as I have received calls concerning issues which obviously during off hours that can only be answered by whether again a fire or police representative. But I think if we're getting this detailed, that I think we need to spell out most anything, and obviously the first point of contact during a situation, whether police or fire related, is reaching out to those departments.
Excellent. Thank you, Councilor O'Hara. Councilor Majota, do you have any questions or any comments to add to this?
No questions. I just feel like the changes are good. I think it's great to have good communication between all the departments, and good to know where my counselor requests are going. So that's great. So happy.
Excellent. So we'll follow through with the adopted member of our committee tonight, and that would be our CAO, Jill Cahill. Is there anything she'd like to add to this conversation?
No, thank you. I'm really happy to work with the council president on this. As I mentioned, I think early on in this new term, this is not an attempt to be authoritarian in any way. We work as a team, and the collaboration with the city council is really important to us. It is really a matter of administration, making sure we have a sense of what the workload on our department heads is. And really, they're going to come to us if there's a big ask by a city councilor. Should start with us so that we can work together on it. As you guys all know, our department heads and city staff in general have a lot on their plates, a lot more than they can do in the 35 hours that are scheduled, and most work many, many more hours. So we appreciate the collaboration and very much appreciate the patience of the counselors as we, stand up the new office and work on the council requests, how to follow up directly. Having been a department head, I was never actually even told what to do with a council request under the previous administration. So I'm glad. I really want to deliver to you guys that there is a way to make sure what happens to your request. So we are committed to that. Pam and I are working on it. We'll work closely with the clerk's office so that information there's no sense. They're keeping a report. We're keeping a report. If we can keep it in one place, I think that makes the most sense. So thank you for your patience on that. And I just want to support Councilor and Chairman Nolan on his comment about legal counsel. Absolutely 100% legal counsel represents the city as a whole, not just the mayor's office. And they know that under this administration. And we are looking forward to welcoming a new general counsel in the near future, who I think you'll all be pleased to be working with again. So I'm happy. And Councilor O'Hara, in concept, I totally hear what you're saying. I understand absolutely that you should have access to police and fire in case of emergency. I just don't know the right wording, right? Who's in charge on a weekday off hours, if it should just be calling the police department. I am very committed to the piece that I don't think it's appropriate for counselors to be using private people's personal cell phones to contact them. So I would prefer a city contact. So I support it, Councilor O'Hara. I just want to think through what it looks like in words.
All righty. So with that being said,
Councilor Nolan?
Councilor Majority, go ahead.
Councilor Gross has a question. I'm not sure if his hand is raised.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tony. You're muted.
Yes, I have just a couple of things. Councilor O'Hara brought up a great point. Now I know that some city staff do get reimbursed on their personal cell phones. Isn't that the case? So that would sort of, when we get real pigeonholed on these rules, it kind of makes sometimes more questions. I also, in the two places that it says, it's sort of like it feels like we're asking for permission when it says all requests must go through the city clerk and the council president. I really don't think, unless all the councilors are being made aware of it, I don't think just one, but even though it is the council president, the mayor and the CAO, that's I can see, but I think we should be, as city councilors, we should be able to independently discuss matters with them on our own. So it's not like we're talking to a department head. So I don't know if that was unintentional, that's how it reads to me, that it meant that had to go through the city clerk and the council president to talk to the mayor and the CAO. That was just the other question I had about that. But there is always the danger when you create these things that there's so much that didn't get thought of, and then by the end of it, it has to be so long that it shouldn't even be in the rules of procedure, which is supposed to be a short-cutting clarification document. That's about all I have to say. Thanks.
All right, Tony. Thank you, Councilor Gross. I see Councilor Gilman has her hand up.
Yeah, to Councilor Gross's comment, which I understand, I actually thought a little bit about it, and in talking to our city clerk, looking at our old protocol on our former city council, that the council president always asks us to copy him on request. So I was just kind of pulling that over. It's not an issue of power. It's really an issue of just knowing the common issues that are happening in case we need to, as a council, get more attention globally on things that are happening all over the city. So it was more or less a process issue. So that was just my suggestion there.
Well, which again leads me to the, sorry to crosstalk here again, but the question about where there's so much detail in here that what is a request to the mayor and what is just a conversation with the mayor, that's
yeah.
That's where, when you put these things down, it's kind of like draws lines in the sand where we don't intend to do that.
Right. And if I may, Council Nolan, as the order maker. So I would just say that it's a guideline. This is a guideline on basically how we should work with administration. It's not a hard black and white answer on every one of these, but it's a way that we can respect the work that city staff has on an ongoing basis and the priorities that are coming out of the city administration to the work of the department heads and the folks underneath them. And then the short questions where we can just get a quick answer and not require a lot of time. So it's kind of a, it's not black and white, and but it's just trying to set some standards that we can try to work for. There will be times where something is a little bit different than this, but we always want to be able to go back to this as our protocol from a respect of the work from city staff. I think it's, I find, the last thing that we want to do, and I've been guilty of a couple of these. I remember last year I asked John Dunn to give me updates on the wind turbines, and he said, oh, I can do that in 10 minutes. And he did, and it was awesome. And I was really excited about it because a lot of my constituent has been asking me how much energy we generate, but I took 10 minutes of his time. And I probably should have made that request through the mayor because maybe he was really crunching on some other projects and he shouldn't have put me in front, which he did. So that's all. I don't think it's a hard, fast rule. It's just some guidelines and a discussion of how these different requests can be made by the administration.
Okay. So thank
Councilor
you.
Nolan.
Councilor Hara, go ahead.
Yeah. Based on what I'm hearing in this discussing this topic, I think this needs to be, before we move it any further, I think it needs to be kicked back for further review and editing. As Councilor Gross mentioned a few things, I've mentioned a few things. An additional one, obviously, we're coming into boating season. Boating season is strongest on the weekends. I know for a fact we're going to be getting a lot of calls. I know, Councilor Nolan, you've been getting inundated concerning Magnolia Pier. I'm sure there are going to be other issues at the town landings and things like that. Who does a councilor contact on a Saturday or Sunday when there's a boating issue? So I think before we put things in black and white, ink, so to speak, that we need to kick this around and edit this. Once you put it in writing, we're making rules. We're all adults. If anyone's overworked, it's 9 city councilors. We have to make our job as easy and as streamlined as possible because we all ultimately answer to the taxpayers, our constituents. So I'm not one to have ever abused anyone within the city, and I'm not saying any of us have ever done that. But I really hate to have things put in writing unless they're really finely thought about, and I think we need a little bit more editing here before we call this finished.
All right, I do agree with Councilor O'Hara. What I was going to say was that it's not a guideline. It's actually a rule and procedure that we're putting in place. And not to take away from the motion itself or the curator of this, but there definitely is a lot of other questions, whether it be with the city solicitor or weekend help or emergency statuses. We need to, I'm not saying make it a novel about this. I believe that we do have a responsibility to find a working template that alleviates some of the unnecessary conversations and time taken from city staff. But I think with what we're hearing tonight and what's going on, it's definitely not a guideline when it's a rule and procedure and being put through as a rule and procedure, because that makes it a rule and procedure. So I wouldn't mind, and in fact, I will suggest to Joanne that we move this forward to come back to O&A, and I'd like to put that out to a vote to the committee to move us forward for 1 month to work with Council Gilman and the city staff and other councilors to craft language that works best for our constituency and so I guess that would be the motion on the table, is to put this forward for a month. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, and this will be by roll call, and we'll start with Council O'Hara.
Yes.
Council Majota.
Yes.
Council Nolan. Yes. So Joanne, if we could bring this back, and I would urge every counselor to reach out to Council Gilman. Her mind is in the right spot on this, trying to streamline things. But if we can come up with something that's not going to be an amendment to an amendment to an amendment to an amendment in a conversation, I think we're best off taking a few weeks to make this work for all department heads and the council as well. And I do want to thank Val for all her time, because this is important work.
What date would you like me to continue this to?
It looks like June 6th seems to be pretty popular.
It's filling up.
Okay.
And
Council?
Councilor Gilman.
Can I just make a suggestion? What if the recommendations go to our city clerk rather than me? And that way they can come back to this as objective comments, and folks will feel like I'm not trying to influence them because of my opinion. Because I really would like to make this process democratic and fair, and that way we can all see the list of all the suggestions in the packet before the meeting, and everybody can know what everyone's opinions are, but we can have a really good conversation when it meets again in O&A, if that's okay with you.
That would be perfect. Joanne, if you could take those comments from the council and field them together for us, I'd really appreciate that.
Okay, I will.
Thanks.
Great.
Thank you all. Next up, we have CC 2022-008, O'Hara O'Neill, amend GZO, Chapter 21, street sidewalks and other public places by deleting section 21-19, removal of snow from sidewalks, and section 2120, removal or covering of ice on sidewalks. This is referred back to O&A. The author, or the co-author of this, Councilor O'Hara, had asked for some more time on this. I have no problem with putting this out again. Maybe June 6th is a little bit busy for what we have coming up. We do have time. Is there any decision of whether we go to the O&A after June 6th? And Councilor O'Hara, that'd probably be more like 6 weeks to 7 weeks. Is that all right with you?
That's fine.
Excellent. So without any objections, I'd like to put this through to the O&A after the June 6th.
That would be June 20th.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So with that being done, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, and this is by roll call, and we'll start with Councilor O'Hara.
Yes.
Councilor Majota,
Yes.
Councilor Nolan, yes. And thank you all tonight, and everybody have a great day. Take care.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Good to see you.